Hey guys, I'm so excited that you could join us today for our very first episode of Modern Mom Talk. I'm really excited because I'm interviewing three Instagram moms who all have something in common aside from being Instagram moms. We are all moms of only children. We're all moms of one and done. So today we're going to have Ruth from The Questionable Mom, Amanda from Mom of One and Done, and Teresa from Mommy Dearest Inc. So I'm super excited and thanks for being here with us. We're recording. Awesome. I am so excited to have you all here today. So we have Amanda from Mom of One and Done. We have
Hi.
from The Questionable Mom, and Teresa from Mommy Dearest Inc. And hello. And today we're going to be talking about only children, moms of one and done. That's the one thing that we all have in common, in addition to being Instagram moms, which obviously we are. We have only children. I myself am an only child with an only child. Are any of you also only children?
My husband is. I'm the last of four.
What about you?
Um,
I,
sorry.
I have a sister, and my husband has a large family. He has several stepbrothers, stepsisters, half brothers, half sisters, so big family.
Amanda?
So I am the youngest of three, but there's a huge age gap. So I was basically raised as an only child because my siblings were out of the house pretty early on. So
That's cool. That's very cool. So I'm sure we all have our own story about why we have an only child or how we got to have an only child. So I would love, love, love to hear some of your stories. So Amanda, I'm going to start with you. Tell me a little bit about your daughter and how old is she? And I just want to hear your story.
so my daughter Mia is 6 now, going on 16. She is full of spunk and sass. And so basically my story is that I knew when I was pregnant that I probably was not going to have any more children, not because I had a difficult pregnancy. I never had that glow. I didn't really connect with pregnancy. Just wasn't the best thing. But then after I ended up having my daughter, I had a lot of difficulty with breastfeeding, which kind of led me down a path of really bad postpartum depression and anxiety, which went undiagnosed. So at that point, I just knew I really couldn't put myself or my family through that again. And that's really why I decided to be a one and done. So that's it.
That story really resonates with me because a very similar thing is that um, once I had Jack, the anxiety of the breastfeeding, is he sleeping? Is he waking up? Is he going to the bathroom enough? Like all of that just weighed in my head so much that I almost couldn't think to put myself through that again. In addition to um, fertility issues and having miscarriages and stuff like that. So like that is probably like tantamount about what it would be is the miscarriages and the infertility issues. But then like my anxiety is a really close second. So I can really, really relate to your story. Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing that. Ruth, I want to hear a little bit more about Otto.
So Otto is almost 20 months now, and he is a character. He's full of more energy than I could possibly imagine, but he's a lot of fun, and he's the sweetest kid. And unlike Amanda, when I was pregnant, I felt probably the best I'd ever felt in my life. I had the glow. I felt sexy. I felt, one with myself, and I wanted to have more than one. But I had a really traumatic birth experience, and then he turned out to be a really challenging newborn, lack of sleep, just crying, unconsolable. It was very challenging and nothing that I had imagined or prepared for. Um, and then again, I also went through postpartum depression undiagnosed, and I kind of went through a separate wave of it. It went away and it came back again, and it just kind of solidified to me, I have as much as I can handle, and I feel good and comfortable with this situation, that I just want to enjoy it, and I don't want to have to put myself or my family through it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely understand that. I always remember when I was trying to get pregnant with Jack, my husband and I always would say, if we have just one child, we will never rock the boat again. We will never ask for anything again. All we want is just one, and then we'll be satisfied. And that was always the like sort of like our one wish out there. And so it was the same thing. It's like, you know, you go through so much to get this one, and then you appreciate him or her so much that like you're like, I'm good. I'm not gonna ask for anything anymore. Like, thank you. I made it through to see the other side of having this like amazing, adorable, and 20 months is a great age. Like I would like snuggle him and
It's
just
getting really, really fun right now. The fun is really just starting.
more fun. It really does. That's almost creeping into like the terrible 2-ish, which is a little tricky, and another reason why probably I only have one kid, but that's a separate thing. But it's true. Like it's such a great. They're so cuddly.
Yeah.
Right? So Teresa, I want to hear your story.
Well, I have Chloe, and she is 9 now, and she's literally on the brink of being a teenager, which is unbelievable. But like all of you, when she was a baby, it was so hard. The breastfeeding, I had such a hard time, and I put so much pressure on myself to be a breastfeeding mother that I made myself crazy. And I was so worried about her not eating enough and eating at the right times and then not having a bottle or having a bottle. And it was so stressful. And she had colic, she cried, she didn't sleep, she had ear infections. It was literally the worst first year of her. First year was the worst year of my life. It was so hard. And I never really thought about having one child. I actually honestly never thought I would have kids. It was never something that I was super stoked about doing. But then when, I actually thought about it, I was like, okay, maybe I'll have 2 kids. And after she was born and after that first year, I kept thinking, I'm not ready. I am absolutely not ready. Maybe next year I'll be ready. And I had her when I was 37. So, the year went by and then another year went by, and it was like, I'm still like really damaged from this. Like we are not out of the woods. And then I just started getting older all of a sudden. And it just, I don't know. I felt like I was never really out of the woods and never ready to do it again. And then by the time I felt like, oh, she could really use a sibling, because this child was not meant to be an only child. Her personality is not that at all. But yeah, I couldn't do it again.
I'm sure so many mothers must struggle with that, because like if all 4 of us feel this, like I'm sure there are so many other moms out there that are like, how could I do this again? And like, how can I, put my body through this, my family through this, whatever it happens to be. So having said that, what are some things that you often hear about having an only child, Amanda?
I think the biggest thing that I've heard is, oh, you're going to change your mind. She needs a sibling, and you're going to definitely change your mind. And that's what I have personally heard the most. And, I don't have a definite answer. My answer is no, I'm not. But I just kind of coast on that awkward, like, smile and nod. Okay. Because there's no reasoning with that. It's no one's, business what I'm going to do. It doesn't affect them. But, ultimately, I do the smile and nod. If they get aggressive about it, that's when I just kind of, lay it out there that no, we're not, and this is our decision, and I'm doing what's best for my family. And my daughter is very outgoing, and she is very personable. And we have friends that we don't even know about because she's talking to everybody on this, like, I don't need another child because everyone's her family, our neighbors, our friends. It's just insane. But I don't need to explain that to people. That's why I just go into that autopilot mode of like, okay, thank you, because it's just not worth the energy anymore.
so much of that on Instagram, obviously,
Mhm.
because it's your account name, and you often will talk about that. So like,
Mhm.
how do you deal with like trolls or people that say that kind of stuff to you online?
I will say that I have been really fortunate with my community of the one and dones, where I don't seem to get many trolls in that aspect. And if I do, everyone is there before I can even get to it. I haven't been personally attacked, knock on wood. But I've seen people kind of debating. And I've heard stories of people being asked a lot worse questions than that. And one of my biggest things this year is to try and get people to understand that that question can be a lot more damaging than they think it is. For people who are not able to have children, it's one thing to be one and done by choice. It's another to be one and done not by choice. And even a question that doesn't have any malicious intent can be hurtful. So it's important to me that people kind of think about that end of it when they ask it. So I try to have an open dialogue, but I am very fortunate to not really run into many trolls that are really judgy about my decision being a one and done.
Thank goodness. We have someone that lives around the block, and they only have one child, and we have one child. And I know that they had a second child who passed away from a childhood illness. He was, and so I would never in a million years ask them. But our other neighbor who has 3 children is constantly like, when are you going to have more kids? And when are you going to have more kids? And it's so hurtful to ask somebody, because you don't know what the other people. Did somebody lose a child, as a baby? Did someone lose a child in utero? Whatever it happens to be. And I can't imagine in 100 years ever asking somebody something like that. And my neighbors have asked me several times, and it's like, leave me alone. They don't ask me anymore, thank God. But it's just so hurtful to just assume that you know a person's background, or that you know their backstory. And for somebody like my other neighbor who did have a loss, a tragic loss like that, with a childhood illness, I couldn't imagine like how they handle answering a question like that. It's just
Even just feeling comfortable enough to ask another person what they're going to do with their body is so aggressive that, like, I mean, I'm guilty of it. Before I had kids, I would ask people, when are you going to have another? Or do you plan to have another? And I didn't realize at the time what kind of question that is. That's such a personal question. And it just floors me now as a mom that strangers feel comfortable just flat out asking you things like that. It just blows my mind.
I think you're right. I think it's a matter of like people not thinking through the words that are actually coming out of your mouth, or like the implications
Right.
that words have, like the gravity of that. Now, do you think, I'm going to ask this one to Teresa, do you think that your daughter is any more or less spoiled that she's an only child?
That's kind of a interesting question. That I have like lots of reasons behind. She might be just because we have means to support her more. And if there were several children, we wouldn't be able to do the things that we do. But I was brought up with my sister, and we didn't do very much as children. We didn't go a lot of places, we didn't travel a lot, we didn't do anything. So there's something in my mind, so it's me, that wants to expose her to everything. So in some ways, from not having the things in my life, I want to share those with her and make sure she has them. So she probably is more spoiled, but in a different regard to being, a single child, or, whatever it may be. I think it's more me wanting to show her things. And you may consider that being spoiled, or you may not. But in terms of physical things, like toys and stuff, no. I definitely don't spoil her with things like that. I'd rather spoil her with experience rather than more crap. Nobody needs more crap.
So much crap.
Yeah.
So much.
why do we have so much crap? I don't want it. If people come to my house, take this crap. I don't want it anymore.
Seriously.
Like, it's just too much stuff. So have your children, I'm going to ask this one to Amanda, because I know you have an extrovert. Has your daughter ever struggled with loneliness or any perceived loneliness?
You mean in our family dynamic?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, no. I think I think that my daughter loves the attention, and that is why she's an extrovert, is because she has our undivided attention, it seems, especially nowadays, being in quarantine with my little energy sucker. But that's part of that's to me one of the biggest perks of having an only child, is that you can give them that attention. I think that for us, what I am seeing as being difficult is she's a very bossy person. So it's learning that dynamic with other kids. And so I think, if we're going to talk about quarantine, then I have a whole spiel about that. But okay, all right. So I will say, as the mother of an extroverted, bossy child, that is probably the biggest issue that I have with the quarantine and school, because sending her to school, even for half-day kindergarten, was nice, and daycare. She went to daycare for the other half a day. So she had the interaction, she had the sharing, she had the, all of that. So to not have that anymore, it's going to be difficult to kind of steer that back to, okay, this is not your universe. We have other people we need to worry about. So that's my biggest issue with quarantine. But yeah, I mean, she's not lonely. She's asked if she could have a sibling, I think twice her whole life. And my answer has been no, that no. And that means you don't have to share your toys, and you don't have to share time with mommy and daddy. And so, yeah, she's not a lonely person.
Because you also said before too, is that she's friends with everybody.
Everybody.
Family.
Everybody. Yeah.
I feel like I'm friends with Mia too.
Yeah, you probably are. I mean, she's friends with even Teresa, and she's, she's a very outgoing child. And, that meme that says something about your kid's either going to be the, leader of the country or the leader of a gang prison. That is my kid. So.
Do you find that you have an opposite? So everyone has a temperament, right? You're either an introvert, you're an extrovert, you're sort of somewhere on that spectrum. Do you find that you have the same temperament or the opposite temperament as your child? And I'll ask Ruth that question.
Oh my gosh. I want to say no, but I feel like yes, we do. And it's frustrating because I'm literally teaching myself and another human, and especially myself in a boy. But it's interesting. I was the youngest of 4, so I had siblings, and they were all around. We all grew up together, and I still would separate a lot and play by myself and have time alone, and I would do my own thing very independently. But I was so attached to my mom, and he is glued to my side all of the time, but he's a really good independent player. And he finds, he's very confident. He'll do whatever he wants to do. He's not afraid of anything. But I need to always be within sight, or else he's not okay.
That's how my son was also at that age too. It's he stuck to me like glue.
Yes. There's always a hand on me on something. Some body part has a hand on me.
Teresa, is Chloe an extrovert or an introvert, or is she opposite you or same as you?
Well, she's definitely an extrovert. She's so social. She is so social that it's insane. Whereas I could probably stay in my house for the rest of my life and not really care. This is great interaction, but I haven't left the house in 2 days. So, but yeah, she right now, she is super, super missing her friends. And she has never in her life been good at independent play, ever. I have been her playmate. And that has been another reason why things have been so hard, because she needs to be talking, she needs to be interacting, and I'm like, shut up. I need like a break, and I don't want to play this game anymore. I'm done. So I don't know. Right now she's really missing her friends. Quarantine has been really hard. I feel like I've been allowing her to spend countless hours online just to socialize with her friends and talk to them, because she's old enough now where she doesn't really want to talk to me constantly. Like, she wants to talk to me and wants to be around me, but she wants to interact with her friends too. So that has been hard, not being able to see anybody. So I've been treating the iPad like a friend, really. So yeah.
I completely understand that one.
Yeah.
More screen time than I ever wanted in 100 years. I was going to ask something. It totally slipped out of my mind. Homeschooling. So obviously Otto is a little too young, Ruth. So I'm going to leave you aside for this question.
Listen, I'm
You are
blessed.
so
I love you
lucky.
homeschooling. I don't know
Very
how we're
lucky.
doing it.
So Amanda, tell me a little bit about what your day looks like homeschooling Mia.
So my day, I am still working, but it's only a few hours a day. So we wake up in the morning. She has breakfast in front of the television because that's what we do now. But normally in the morning, I'm like, you have to watch Sid the Science Kid or Brainchild. Like, it has to be something educational, because that's how I, deal with that. And then from 10 to about 12 is when we do school. So she gets her school issued iPad, and we have a checklist that we go through. And I could not be more thankful that she is in kindergarten and that I am not having to do like higher level anything, because I don't know how anyone's doing it. So yeah, it's a little bit taxing, but again, like I can't compare. I feel bad for the parents, for you guys that are just a little bit older, where your kids still need your kind of hovering and help. But it's a little bit more advanced than what she's going through. So, but it's still a pain in the ass, to be quite honest. It sucks. It really does suck. And our last day of school is May 29th, and I could not be more happy about that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like mid-June, and I'm like, mid-June, why?
Oh my gosh.
June for? It's a whole nother month of this. I think we go 15th or something like that. So Teresa, what about Chloe? Like, do you have to sit with her? She's obviously a little bit older than Amanda's daughter. So do you have to sit?
Yeah, it's a shit show. It's a shit show. It's an absolute mess. Like, third grade there's so much work, and I don't know. It's the first few weeks were a complete mess on the school end because everyone was trying to figure it out. And then they started kind of getting into the groove after spring break, and started sending us these packets of 70 pages of worksheets and 25 Zoom meetings a week and Audible books and language classes and yoga and like social emotional learning. And I was literally losing my mind. I was like, this is from 8:30 to almost 4, and I have to work and do other stuff that needs to be done around the house. And she needs a lot of help. Like there's spreadsheets and things that are attached that they can't find. And then, they don't really understand the lesson. And then I look over and she's like, like picking her nose and like not paying attention. And the kids are like, I hear my daughter typing furiously, and I'm like, what is she doing over there? And she's just about to hit send, and they have a chat open on their Zoom class, and Chloe is about to press send on, and the teacher can see this. This is so boring. I was like, oh, dude, like, it's a nightmare. You know, it's just so much having to watch over them and help them with things that they don't understand, because the stuff is a little trickier and it's much more involved, and it's a lot. But the last few weeks I've given myself total slack. We've done like next to nothing, and I don't care anymore. I really don't. We like do a few things, we do what we can. She's taking a few language lessons, we're doing some artwork, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it anymore.
What it is, like everyone keeps saying to me too, is like you could only do what you can do. In the emotional, you know, like we want to make sure that the kids are like in a good place emotionally, that you don't want to like stress them out for school on top of everything else that is, you know, currently going on in the world, because it's crazy. It's just too much. And so everyone just says like, you know, we just want their emotional well-being. That's what I was looking for. Well-being to be in place before you worry about any of this other stuff. Like, don't worry, they're going to catch up on whether it's reading or math or handwriting or whatever it is, like they're going to catch up on that stuff. But what you can't, or what it's harder to come back from, is the anxiety that they're because of all of this stuff. Like, they know that they can't see their friends. They know they can't go to the park. They know that they can't do play dates and all of that kind of stuff. So like, just go easy on them. And that's like, my school has been very good, or Jack's school has been very good about saying that kind of stuff. Like, they do this Feel Good Friday, which on Fridays we don't have real school. So they just give us like projects to do. So it'll be like, you know, things about integrity and, you know, respect and all of this like easy, nice, like warm and fuzzy social emotional kind of stuff. So that's my advice, is like, go easy on yourself, T. Like, there's no reason to like really go crazy with 70,000 worksheets and all that kind of stuff.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it was to the point where we're all angry at each other all day long. You know, I was constantly getting angry that she's not paying attention, or she's not doing it, or we haven't finished it in time, and then we've missed something. So now I'm just, I can't. We can't. So
like, why fight all day? For what? Because of like social studies? Like, you can't every day for 6 weeks. It's just too much. It's crazy. Yeah. So do what you can do.
Yep.
Don't beat yourself up about it.
I'm not anymore.
About motherhood anyway, right? Do what you can do and don't beat yourself up about it. That should just be our new motto.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah.
You can do yourself up over it. So thank you so much, ladies, for coming on to our very first show like this, our first podcast, if you will. And do you have any other thoughts or any other things you want to say? I have a quick game that I want to play before we get before we go. It's sort of like a free association kind of thing, right? So I'm going to throw out a word, and then you throw out the first word back to me. All right. So I'm gonna go each person. Okay. Ruth, ready? Baby.
Sleep.
Let's go. I was thinking baby Ruth.
Oh, now I am though.
Candy bars. All right. Let's see. Amanda, ready? Pajamas.
Party.
Yeah, pajama party. This is kind of like a pajama party, because we're all in our pajamas and we're kind of sort of partying. Teresa, ready?
Tattoo. Me.
That's what I thought. You gotta show one. You gotta. There you go. There you go.
I love them.
She has a wait. Show her hands. Her hands are great.
Your rings? That's awesome.
Oh my God.
You're so sick. I love it.
I posted a story one day, and I have like this teeny tiny dot on my thumb. And somebody texted me, like sent me a message. They were like, I'm very, very worried about that mole on your thumb. It looks cancerous. And I was like, it's a tattoo. She literally sent me all of this skin cancer information. I was like, oh, thank you so much. It's a tattoo. Like, but she literally freaked out.
So much care. See, that's a really nice person to take care of.
I know.
All of that stuff. You have the sickest tattoos though. I love it. And that's why I had to play that free association with you. So thank you so much, Amanda, Ruth, Teresa, for joining us today. And I'm just going to say where we could find everybody. Amanda, we could find you at Mom of One and Done on Instagram. And Ruth, we could find you at The Questionable Mom on Instagram. And Teresa, we could find you at Mommy Dearest Inc. on Instagram. I love you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Love you
you.
guys.
Here, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.